26 minutes to 9 o'clock. Let's bring you more now on one of our top stories on this Thursday morning. The Western Cape High Court will hear an urgent interdict by AfriForum. The Afrikaner lobby group wants to stop the parliamentary process that will allow for expropriation of land without compensation. AfriForum says the Constitutional Review Committee's report is flawed. It says the report failed to consider thousands of written submissions. Earlier this month, the Parliamentary Committee adopted a resolution recommending the amendment of Section 25 of the Constitution. Well, my colleague Annika Lassen is joining us now from outside the Western Cape High Court, where all this will be playing itself out today. Annika, very briefly, why is AfriForum saying this process is flawed?
Good morning, Dan. Yes, it's been a very long process in terms of the oral and written submissions to get this report finalised by this Special Joint Constitutional Review Committee. 34 public sessions, 40 presentations and 750,000 written submissions. And those written submissions is what is one of the contentious issues that is being brought to court today. AfriForum wants the adoption of the report interdicted and the report set aside. Why? Because a large number of those written submissions were not included in the final report because they were regarded as duplicates, i.e. the company that Isilumco that was looking at the written submissions, there were just too many for MPs to be able to go through, said many had come from the same address. So, for instance, one company, Dan, had sent out, for instance, maybe 60,000 emails objecting to an amendment to Section 25 of the Constitution, and then another, for instance, lobby group had perhaps sent out 75,000 from one email server also objecting. So they felt that it was not fair to include all of those written submissions. But there is also objection. I remember during the report at the time, sorry, there's a big rubbish truck here. But I remember when there was the submission of the and talk about the written submissions at the time, there was an objection because there was a company called Isilumco who had gathered all the data regarding the written submissions, and they were a labour broker and a data capturer, and there was confusion as to why they were actually doing that specific work. So I think that's going to form some of the approach that AfriForum is going to present before a full bench today.
And how long will this bench take, you think, Annika, from your experience and understanding the matter at hand? Because I guess from a parliamentary perspective, it's urgent. How long will this bench take to deliberate and make a decision? Are we in for a long haul?
Well, the National Assembly is scheduled to debate and adopt the report on the 4th of December. That's next Tuesday. So I should think that AfriForum will be arguing for urgency, and the court will have to decide whether it's urgent or not. Remember that there's big pressure. There was big pressure to get this report finalised and adopted and tabled for yet more public comment before the end of the 5th Parliament. So that would be before the 2019 elections, because it's going to form part of several groups and several parties. It's going to form part of their election campaign. So there's big pressure for that. So I think they'll decide on urgency, and I think that they shouldn't take too long. But I also see this matter going right up to the apex court, to the Constitutional Court at some stage, because, as one lawyer said to me, this legislation has to be legally impeccable. There can be no problems with it. I think one of the problems AfriForum is going to have today, possibly, is they may be accused by the legislature who's opposing the urgent interdict that they've been premature because the report hasn't been adopted before the National Assembly yet.
Thank you very much, Annika Lassen, the Western Cape High Court, ahead of that important urgent interdict application by AfriForum, so to speak, to halt the parliamentary process that will allow for expropriation of land without compensation.